If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch. Buy our merch indeed. The child shall lead them to buy our merch.
Ben's birthday beatdown.
In 2011, MegadetH released an album that is pretty underrated, at least to me, says Ben. From the album 13, this is We the People, Pop Some Corn, Popcorn. Pop some corn, popcorn. Pop some corn, people. We may incite a Vin rant with this one.
Oh boy.
We the People. I am sure this is going to incite a conversation.
Oh boy, here we go.
Vin likes political stuff. We have another YouTube channel called Middle America.
I do not like political stuff. I'm just forced to be political because I don't have my head in the sand.
Oh,
dear listener,
you don't...
It's a labor of love.
Oh, oh, is it?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, who likes that subject matter?
I thought that you liked it. I thought you enjoy seeing what's going on and.
How can anybody enjoy what's going on right now?
Not enjoy what's going on, but enjoy seeing what's going on. Like,
oh, I see what you're saying.
You know, you wake up, it's like, let me look at the news.
Yeah, it's.
That means you're excited about it.
No.
I had a birthday. Well, that's what I thought. I understand now. I had a birthday. Okay, Ben, I'm just going to tell you, I had a birthday cake on there for you. I also had a balloon.
Oh,
and I had the 2 of these.
God.
And also that one where they blow.
How do you rate? I don't get all that shit on my birthday, Ben.
Oh, you get other things.
Good Lord.
You get other things.
Good Lord. Okay, here we go. Here we go. All right, here we go. MegadetH, We the People. Let's do it.
Necessary for one people. Install the celestial band, then connect the band with another. And to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal places to which the Lord of nature and of nature's God entitle them. Burn our towns and destroy the lives of our people. In this time, transporting large armies upon their earth. To complete the work of death, desolation, and burning.
Bureaucracy, it's just a lie. The devil's henchmen in suit and tie, a sacred Greetings from the future, one of calamity, the coming plagues of the new disease, the Illuminati, one world currency, one world religion, one world everything.
Master, dude. Even in the solos, this bitch is crazy right now.
Violate your rights, no more equality. Surrender freedom, your social security. We the people face unconstitutional lies. Increasing trust, in revolution we die. We the people face unconstitutional lies. Increasing trust, in revolution we die. We the people face unconstitutional lies. Increasing trust, in revolution we
Our Amazon account is up and running now. We are selling our formula officially. It's amazing stuff from Europe.
Made in Germany. Sold in America.
Highest standards there are. In America, the standards haven't been updated since 1980. It's super weird, like older than me. In Europe, they update safety standards basically every year. This formula is top notch, great for the stomach, great for constipation. This is a great product. If you happen to want to purchase it and join us on our journey, then grab the link in the description. If you do and leave a review for us, send me a screenshot at vinandsori@gmail.com of your review after you have received the product. We will put your name in a hat. Song reviews are going to come out by some of the people that have left reviews. Don't forget to send us a screenshot of your review once you get the product. Now a word from our mascot dressed as a pirate, Fuji.
It's a deal of a deal.
The song is done.
Too short for you?
Yeah, I'm a little pissed at this song.
Called it.
I'm just starting to get into that shit. We the people. Here's the thing about Mustaine. Like, I love his guitar work is unattainable, but his vocals are very attainable.
Oh, okay. Okay.
There's something I could be like, hey, I'm like Dave Mustaine. Yeah, I can't write. I can't sing. I can't sing. And
there
I
are
can't
certain
write.
bands that I like hearing you sing to, though. Like, Smashing Pumpkins is one of them.
Tonight.
No, you don't do it like that when
Tonight.
you do it. You sound more like him that way. But no, when you do it, you don't do it like that. But anyway, okay. We the people. Let's get ready for some politics here, ladies and gentlemen. Secret bureaucracy. It's just a lie. The devil's henchmen in suit and tie.
So is it We the People?
Yeah.
Megadeth?
A sacred brotherhood, an ancient rite, politicians, and the double lives they hide.
I mean, are they even hiding it anymore? We just did like a Middle America thing on Trump with, you know, he's out there cavorting with Playboy models who could be his granddaughter.
Yeah, but when did that happen? That happened a while ago, and it's just coming out now, which means...
No, it's not coming out now. I mean,
wait, when did it happen?
Listen, I used to live in New York City, okay? So, like, the Daily News and all that shit, anytime you had Trump running around with some broad, it was all over the place in New York. We knew he was running around with a bunch of girls all the time.
Yeah, but
this wasn't like some secret.
Well, that last story was a secret, right? Didn't it just come out years after it happened?
No, everybody knew he was with Stormy Daniels.
Oh, okay.
It was the payoff stuff. It was the payoff stuff, or whatever you want to call it. That
okay
was
then.
Secretive,
but that still means they're hiding stuff. But I see what you're saying. Are they hiding a lot? Like, we actually get to see how crummy the politicians are now. And honestly, I don't think that they have the opportunity to hide like they used to. But we've got the internet, and, you know, You know,
I agree.
Especially because like when everything started getting recorded and then stuff started getting dragged back up, like the politicians were still acclimating to that, and I still think that they are. I think they're
Acclimating
understanding
to what?
now. When they would say just like Hillary, when she said we came in and the bombs are going off or the things were flying and the girl came up and brought her a flower, like she hadn't transitioned to the fact that your
Hillary
lies.
Clinton here.
Yeah.
Shorty was ducking sniper fire. I forgot about that shit.
Thank you for the flower. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they were able to lie back then without us really being. They could hide before the internet. Is basically what I'm saying. Now with smartphones and the internet, I think it makes it almost impossible for them to hide. So they still can try, but I think that the
I mean, he's talking about the Illuminati here, secret societies, a sacred brotherhood, ancient right. What is it? The Skull and Bones Society is like. The Bushes were part of the Skull and Bones Society. The whole thing about being a conspiracy theorist is such an interesting idea to me.
Right there, the Illuminati. Yeah.
Because like.
Okay, what is?
The term conspiracy theory.
Okay.
It's meant to immediately shut down the brains of thinking people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because all you have to, and we saw this during.
It's not credible until it becomes a fact, but before it's a fact, then it's just considered conspiracy, and it could be a fact, but then everybody...
Yeah, but even after facts come out, they'll still call you a conspiracy theorist, because it's a rhetorical device. It's a psychological device. Yeah. It's not an actual description of a mindset. So, like, during the whole Russiagate thing, Russiagate was a conspiracy theory. It was, whoa, Trump is secretly colluding with Putin, and Putin has videos of him getting peed on, and so in order for those not to be released, he's getting blackmailed by the Russians. Like that was what they were. That's what happened on national fucking TV with Rachel Maddow and the rest of them, and then she started spinning all these weird.
But Rachel Maddow, didn't she say that she's not? She didn't say she's not to be taken seriously, but she said she was.
Yeah, they always say that when they get sued in court.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson does it, she does it.
Okay.
But my point is, if you disagreed with the Russia hoax, they called you a conspiracy theorist. That's when I said to myself, oh, okay.
They've weaponized the word.
This is what it is from the beginning. Because the term conspiracy theory, I believe, came up during the Kennedy assassination.
Oh, really?
Because people weren't buying it. They weren't buying the official story. And by the way, agency just released like a couple months ago. Wow. They basically it's like, yeah, we had something to do with the murder of JFK because all the players are dead now. Bush is dead.
Yep.
You know, Bush was the head of the CIA at the time. Kennedy was talking about like a dark cabal of people that were moving in secret. He was about to like expose the CIA. Feel how you want to feel about it. I can tell you that folks in that agency believe that first of all, the leaders are not elected, and they're essentially lifetime appointments, pretty much for as long as you want to do it once you get to the upper echelon of the agency. So because of that, it creates this dynamic where the incoming president is just Johnny. It's like you weren't here 5 years ago, and you're not going to be here 4 years from now.
Right.
So we'll tell you what we want. Like that's how it goes, and that's their beliefs. It's all these groups have a different belief. Like if you want to be like a constitutional blah blah blah, a ground worker, a special agent in the FBI. Like I'm talking about the ground level. That's them, man. Salt of the earth. Pure Constitution. I mean, you've seen that demonstrated.
I know, I have, yeah.
Ridiculous loyalty to the Constitution. Agency, it's not like that. It's American supremacy is the best thing for Americans in the world. That's the presumption.
Americans in the world and the world.
American supremacy is the best thing for Americans and the world.
And the world? Oh, wow.
In that order. Okay?
Yeah.
So they're gonna do whatever they have to do in their minds to secure that kind of future. Mm-hmm. Like fomenting, let's say for example, like if you wanted to weaken somebody that could compete with you, and then you wanted to drag other countries, like for example, like you could like continuously push hostile actors right to the border of that country and continue to sable rattle with that country and continue to instigate a conflict so that when that country finally says you're coming too close, we're going to defend ourselves. Now you can initiate all these sanctions and all types of crazy shit and try to marginalize them and all the rest of it. Like, things like that. Or like, for example, like if you wanted to go to a war, for example, with a region, and you knew that actors were in your country from that region who were about to do some evil shit, you could kind of look the other way, and then they could do some shit. You could initiate a whole bunch of shit. You could initiate the Patriot Act. You can also initiate foreign wars that we still haven't gotten out of. It's so fascinating to me that all the media has to do is call something a conspiracy theory, and immediately people's minds will just completely turn off.
That's the crazy thing about language, is it was meant to bring us like together and for us to be able to understand each other, but then you can't, when words then become what shuts our brains down instead of what turns them to understanding.
Yeah.
Instead, it just makes our brains close. There are so many words that we've done that to.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Like, and like conspiracy theory is just like it's just one of them. Like, the media was pushing a conspiracy theory with the Trump hoax. It was a total lie. But anybody who disagreed with that narrative, they called a conspiracy theorist. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing that happened to Jimmy Dore with this whole COVID situation. He got vaccine injured, and TYT, they were calling him a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, it was him. He's telling his own experience. He's not talking about a theory. Mm-hmm. He's saying he had an adverse reaction to the vaccine. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, lots of people have had adverse reactions to the vaccine. Like, But as soon as they said conspiracy theorist, boop, it shut down your mind. So even though he was talking about a real thing, a true thing, nope. And you had people in this chat. You had people in this chat like a couple of years ago saying, well, you know, I forgot what country it was. Middle was talking to me about. It was some country like... It was some country that wasn't doing the lockdown or whatever. And he's like, they're doing fine with herd immunity. And I was like, no, that's not real, blah, 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 blah. And Middle Earth is like, I don't know, bro. Like, it looks like, I'm like, I want to look at the CDC, blah, blah, blah. Well, it turns out the CDC purposely left out the largest demographic relative to COVID. You know, it was like the demographic between 18 and 55. And, like, those people had, like, great numbers relative to their own natural immunity overcoming COVID in a day or two or three or whatever. Same thing with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, his doctor prescribed him ivermectin. Right. But because Trump used the term ivermectin... I know,
they made it sound like he went down a friggin' Tractor Supply and bought himself some horse pills and friggin' made himself all green and sick looking like Shrek and shit. And you know
they put a filter on and made him look sicker than he actually was.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, here's my thing. Like, I don't believe that the Illuminati or secret society, I don't believe that these are omnipotent, omniscient people. Mm-hmm. I believe they're extremely powerful and influential. I think, for me, the big concern that I have is a couple things. One is, like, we have such a short memory. It's like, all these people going crazy about Russia and Ukraine. It's like, don't you remember like 10 years ago, the Muslims are the bad guys? The Muslims are the worst people on the planet. The Muslims are the people you were supposed to be afraid of. And we're supposed to bomb the shit out of Muslim countries. And then now it's like, oh no, now the Russians, we hate the Russians now. And the Russians, who have a GDP of Los Angeles, somehow were able to control Donald Trump. Like, and it's like, instead of Trump just killing Putin, like, oh, you've got these tapes on me. Like, instead of Trump saying, I've got the most powerful military in the world, I'll fucking kill you. No. It's like, my thing is, if you learn, then you'll be more prepared the next time it happens. So, like, I was completely propagandized after 9/11. Mm-hmm. And my left-wing friends were telling me, yo, they're taking your emotions, and they're taking your love for your country, and they're corrupting it for another agenda. I'm like, I don't want to hear that shit, bro. I saw people from New York City jumping out of buildings to escape a worse, like, people gonna have to die for that shit in bunches. I don't give a fuck. And they're like, you're being propagandized. Those people in Iraq did not do that to you or your family. Mm-hmm. I don't care. So they took that youthful rage or whatever, and they absolutely, and you know, Black Hawk Down came out, which you talk to anybody like in this generation about the effect that Black Hawk Down had on them And a lot of people don't understand the proximity of the release of Black Hawk Down to 9/11.
Yeah.
Do what you will with that. Like,
Yeah.
my thing is, I'm cool as long as you learn from what happened and you're on guard the next time, then it's a win. So when I see this Russia-Ukraine stuff and the same apparatus that was telling me to hate Muslim people is the exact same apparatus that's telling me now to be afraid of Russia and Russian people. Like when I was doing Middle America, doing the whole Russia scare or whatever, and then what's his face was saying, scum, Russian scum. I was like, yo, what's going on here? I'm like, there are like literally hundreds of thousands of Russian Americans. Like, are we thinking about those people?
I was thinking about my friend that I used to
And
work
every
with.
time I would say something like that, I'd get a Russian person in the comment section saying, thank you.
Yeah.
What the fuck? And now you got people accepting shit that they would never accept. You got PayPal, all these people freezing out Russian gamers. There was a couple of them where just because you're Russian, your shit got frozen, destroyed your social media career, which is extremely difficult to build. Jeez. And is extremely precarious. It's not like there's unemployment if your channel dies. That's not how it works. You don't even get you can't even get business insurance for this type of living. So it's like there was a lot of things. There's a tennis player that they wouldn't let play unless he signed a loyalty oath. There's another tennis player that was COVID negative, but he wasn't vaccinated, so they wouldn't let him leave the country.
This is all in Russia?
No, this is in the Western world. A lot of this shit was happening. Yeah. Like, they did a lot of really, really, really evil things to Russian people. And people who otherwise would have said that's discrimination allowed it to happen because they were so brainwashed by their government to hate Russian people. And that's why I'm looking back. I'm like, think about this, guys. For the last 6 years, we had Russiagate, right? So your mind has already been prepped for 4 years, and then it just so happens that Putin invades, and now it's like this is a coincidence. I'm supposed to look at this as a coincidence. You guys have been doing nonstop Russophobic reporting for 4 or 5 years, and now here we go. We've got this big war, and now we're supposed to ignore the right sector, fucking Azov battalion, all these times that these guys are doing actual Nazi salutes.
Right.
So, like, crazy. You had Rachel Maddow and all these people calling Trump supporters. Now, these are Americans. You had, all through the Trump administration, you heard fascist, Nazi. Every fellow American who voted a way we didn't like was a fascist. And I remember on Middle America when it was 2020 and people were like, yo, I can't believe anybody would vote for this fascist. They would vote. And now you're supporting a country who nationalized the media, who literally has Nazis walking down the street saluting, who has Nazi insignia all over their gear, who deposed other political parties that were peaceful, who confiscated citizen journalists and made them apologize on camera. All hallmarks of actual fascism. And you're giving these people full-throated support. It's because the media told you that they were the good guys and that the Russians were the bad guys and that you should love this group of people and fear these people. You know, the media didn't tell you to care about the Yemeni people, so the Yemeni people have been suffering for a fucking decade. You don't care about that, right. But you honestly believe you're a good person for putting a little Ukraine flag on your whatever. On your profile you're thing. Doing exactly what your government told you to do. It's the same thing that, think about this flag shit. Everybody after 9/11 and post-Iraq war, every patriotic American had a little flag bumper sticker. You don't remember that? Yeah. There's flags everywhere. Everywhere. And now if you're a good disciple of the media, you're going to put a Ukraine flag on your... You don't know shit about Ukraine. You don't know anything about Ukraine.
We're supposed to be afraid of the Russians, but then they went and they took all their oil and stuff and blew up their
thing. We blew up Nord Stream too.
That's not something that looks like people that we should be afraid of. It looks like people were taking from. We're stronger than you is what it looks like.
It's unbelievable. It's like we're completely programmed to just go along with whatever the media says, and it's like we can't learn. Like, when have these people, the intelligence community, big media, when have they ever told us the truth about a war? Ever. And like I said, fool me once. That's fine. Yeah. So the one time they fooled me was post 9/11. Okay, you got me. And some of this is ego. People don't want to believe that they can be propagandized.
Wow. Yeah. Nobody wants to be propagandized, and you don't want to have to believe that the stuff you did that is causing you, you know, duress or stress or whatever you want to call it, because they've been in that situation. Like, you have to come back and admit that you were propagandized into that trauma.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to.
That's hard.
Well, it's not hard for me. I got propagandized.
Yeah.
Like people, like the ego.
You know what? I gotta say,
people will use your ego against you. I'm telling you.
Hopefully, you can help me tie this in, because it makes sense in my mind. But when I start thinking it out, like when you hear when the government. There's aid for people that need help, and so you have WIC and you have food stamps and you have all these different programs to help people that need help. And I get it. There are people that take advantage of that system, just like there's going to be people that take advantage of every system. But that system is put out there to help people that actually have needs.
Right.
But then the government has, like, I remember being 15 years old and I was pushing carts at the grocery store, the carts to bring them back into the building. And I gotta tell you guys, I hate winter, and it was freezing, and there was ice, and there was snow. And then I saw this bumper sticker that said, "Work harder, millions on welfare depending on you." But it wasn't like, hey, like it didn't give you the idea that, like, hey, this is cool, like you're able to help people with your paycheck. It was like, you need to work harder so they can sit on their ass and play video games. It's kind of like this mentality, this idea that was kind of being put out there. Well, I think the amount of money that we put out to helping people, like the amount of money that we've sent over there to Ukraine to aid them in war, that should be what makes us upset. But instead there's this idea
I am
that, like,
upset.
oh, it's your neighbor. Yeah, but not a lot
I'd
of people.
rather that $150 billion go to Americans.
That's what I'm saying.
That
Like,
would have been cool.
Instead of saying, hey, like, oh, the government is taking X amount of money for me to help my neighbor, and being upset about that, instead of looking at it like, oh, wow, we would have a bunch of money for the neighbor. They wouldn't even have to take out of our paychecks. I think that we should give, but instead, what I'm saying is that the government has it set up. So instead of looking at the government to say, wait, hey, what are you doing? People are angry at their neighbor for being so poor that they need the money.
Yeah, Jimmy Dore talked about that with COVID. He's like, these people are getting us to turn against our own neighbors. Yeah. I remember...
We have to stop. We have to stop listening to them to that degree.
I remember I ran a thing on Middle, and I was blown away by the response. And everybody knows during the COVID situation, I was the mask guy, I was the social distancing guy. My thing was, don't let the government tell us to do it, because they won't give us back our rights. But I said we should voluntarily do that. But I remember... They were talking about, like, if you end up in the hospital and, like, you need a lung or something like that, and if you're not vaccinated, they're not going to help you. And I was like, yo, that shit is crazy, right? People are like, nah, man, if they don't want to get vaccinated. I'm like, yo, these are Americans you're talking about. These are your own countrymen. What do you mean? There was so much, like, and then they created this term, the unvaccinated, like, it's like othering language, the unvaccinated. What is that? Like, yo, this sounds like some sort of, like, zombie apocalypse.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It did have a zombie apocalypse feel, and people were saying it all over the place. And all of us have seen a lot of that stuff. Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah. Delaney, who security at school would be a cool use of that money. Correct. Like, if our little sisters and brothers could go to school and feel a little bit more safe, we could have done some real good with that $150 billion. But you know, like, it's amazing. Our government, like, committed an act of war against not only Russia but Germany. We blew up Nord Stream 2. That's fine. We're okay with that because they've got this icon of Putin. He's so bad that literally anything we do can now be justified. It's the same thing they did with Trump. Oh, Trump is literally Hitler. So no matter how unconstitutional it was, no matter how unfounded Russia, they violated that dude's civil rights in a bunch of areas. Feel how you want to feel about it, but they did. But they've made Trump such a bad guy to you that now you can justify doing anything to him. And Putin is such a horrible guy now. Now we can justify doing anything to him. And over there in Libya, like, you killed Muammar Gaddafi, and then you opened slave markets where black people were sold in broad daylight as slaves. And it's the same apparatus that's now telling us about this Russia-Ukraine thing. And people are like, yep, let's believe that. It's insane. I don't understand it. Like, as I said, like, fool me once, like...
And it's not about protecting one group of people over another group of people. Obviously, like, we're human beings, so you do want yourself and your family to be protected first. Like obviously I want my kids safe and stuff, but at the same time, like, we have to prioritize the health and well-being of a human being, all of us, instead of, like, we have all of these weird divisions that, like, if you can, like, stop and kind of pull back from it, it's like we've been socialized this way. We've divided ourselves up into places on a map. We've divided up ourselves to colors, cultures, all these different things. But we all of these were man-made things that we've set up. And because we've set up all these divisions, we instigated the divisions to come, because we're in that situation, like, and we're not being driven primarily by love for other human beings, and we're being driven by fear. Like, there's a verse that says that perfect love casts out fear, or it drives out fear. And a lot of times that people think the opposite of fear, the opposite of love, is hate, but it's actually fear. Fear will get us to do all kinds of crazy things, and it will, when people are fearful, they will be so much more vicious toward other human beings, because it's survival that is kicked in. So it's just so friggin' sad, man. Like, all this...
No, I am, Jonathan, it's not as simple to me as saying that what Russia is doing is wrong. This is the hypocrisy of people who are living in safety commenting on people who are living in danger. My country, when the Cuban Missile Crisis happened, and the Russians were moving nuclear weapons that could get to America, my country almost started World War III over that shit. They said, nah, you guys are coming too close to our country for comfort, so we're going to initiate this Monroe Doctrine, this over here, this is us. Get the fuck out of here. So we were ready, our government was ready to strap up when folks started threatening us. We've been threatening those people for decades. Decades. And all we've done is continually expand and instigate and instigate and instigate. And we, just like we did with the Mujahideen, or just like we did during the Arab Spring, we teamed up with the worst people in the region. In the Arab Spring, literally, you had dudes fighting Al-Qaeda in other places on the planet, okay? Rucking up, going to Libya and fighting with Al-Qaeda. We were literally fighting, giving aid, comfort, and training to, and recruiting assets to Al-Qaeda. So we always take the worst group of people from that region to overthrow or to do whatever we want. And so when you're talking about this current conflict, number one, we have played an instigatory role. We have threatened those people over and over again for decades. Mr. Putin has asked for over a decade. Leave us alone. Stop expanding NATO.